Hi guys, and welcome back to Tea Time Crime. Yes, I've named it. Yes, it's stupid. No, I don't care. Today, we are going to be talking about the Granny Ripper, aka Baba Yaga, aka Tamara or Tamara Samsanova. Now, viewer discretion is advised. This one is a serial killer, so we're going to be discussing the murders, as well as some of the gory details. So if that is not something that you want to listen to, I suggest you turn it off now. Right, so this is back 2015, back in Russia, St. Petersburg. Is that right? St. Petersburg? I think it's St. Petersburg. There's an old lady. Her name is Tamara Samsanova. She lives in an apartment building. She has for the last 40 years. And in that apartment building also lives her friend Valentina Ulanova. So Tamara's apartment was being renovated. So she asked Valentina, could I come stay with you while this is being done? And Valentina says, sure, why not? Come on down. So Tamara goes to Valentina's and, she helps with the cooking, helps with the cleaning, essentially makes Valentina aware that she's grateful and appreciative that she's letting her stay. And she stays for quite a while, to the point where her renovations are now completed and have been completed for quite some time. So Tamara asks Valentina, is it okay if I stay a little bit longer? I know my renovations are done, but I don't want to be alone, blah, 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 because her husband disappeared back in 2003. So she was living on her own, occasionally having a tenant here or there, but we'll get to that later. So she, Valentina agrees to let Tamara stay a little bit longer. And then it gets to the point where Valentina's like, right, I really want my own space back. I think you need to leave. They ended up getting into an argument about some dishes that were left in the sink, like a full-blown argument. And Valentina's like, this, I'm drawing the line. You need to leave. And then Tamara agrees. But before that, she goes, let me make you dinner tonight, just as a thank you, for letting me stay so long, what have you. So she goes to town to get some ingredients for this salad that Valentina really liked. While she's in town, she somehow convinces a pharmacist to provide her with a drug called phenazepam. Let me read it. Phenazepam, which I'm not really sure what that is. I'll Google it and I'll pop it in the description box below, but she ended up taking the bottle of pills, crushing them, and putting them in the salad dressing to Valentina's salad, and she gave it to her, I'm assuming expecting it to kill her, and then she went upstairs to bed. She came down, this was the 23rd of July, 2015, and she comes down about 2 a.m. and realizes that Valentina's not dead. She is sedated, like she's passed out, she's just essentially out of it, but still breathing. So while she's alive, Tamara decides that she is going to just cut Valentina up. So she decapitates her, removes her lungs, removes the limbs from her body, and also removes her hands from her arms. And she does this with a hacksaw that she had borrowed from another neighbor in the building. So she takes all these body parts, wraps them in, I don't know if it was like a curtain or like a shower curtain, but curtain of some sort, wraps it in a curtain, puts it in bags, and then proceeds to, discard those bags. As well, she had placed her head and her hands in a big stock pot and put it on the stove. Now, what I'm going to insert here is a little clip from the 25th of July, so 2 days later, of Tamara carrying out the bags of body parts. And at the end of the video, you'll see her carrying out the pot, which had supposedly contained Valentina's head and hands. So that's coming up now. Now, the reason that Valentina put the head and hands in a pot is kind of speculation right now. Maybe she was trying to dispose of the identifying features of the body, like fingerprints and such, but also the mention of the lungs as well. I think in her diary, oh my God, Angus is here. I think in her diary, she had mentioned something about lungs being her favorite food to eat. Cover your ears, that's bad. So yeah, just, I don't know if the head and hands were also part of that, or if it was more so something for identification purposes, but regardless, the possibility of her being a cannibal was never ruled out by the police, so that's something to consider as well. Right, how creepy was that? Ugh. Anyway, so the 27th of July, 2 days after again, a couple is near a pond that's behind the apartment building, and that's where Tamara had disposed of Valentina's body, except her lower portion, like her hips and her legs. She said that was too heavy, so she ended up only being able to take that to like the edge of the woods or something, but she managed to get everything else all the way to this pond. So this couple is out walking their dog, and the dog is going crazy over this bag that is by the pond and like pawing at it. He's just not letting go. So the couple, I don't know what possessed them to do this, but the couple opened the bag and realized that it was a human torso. So obviously they called the authorities, and they come down to investigate. Now, I don't know how they were able to identify Valentina so quickly, but they managed to. And then they found out that she lived in this apartment building. So they went to the apartment building, and they went to her apartment, and they found Tamara in the apartment. Now, she was still staying in Valentina's apartment. She hadn't moved to her own apartment yet. And I'm not sure why, but that's just what it was. So she ends up, like, they asked her, oh, did you know the person who lived here? Or was she a friend, a relative? Like, what's the situation? And she just straight up confesses, and it's just like, yep, I killed her. And they found, remnants of the crime, right? Like, they found blood splatter. They found, I think they found the hacksaw that she had used, also a couple of the knives and things like that. So, it was a pretty, clean cut case, like, oh God, clean cut. Ooh. And they were just able to close it, right? So they take her in, they do some interrogation, and they discover that potentially she's killed more than just Valentina. So they go back, and I don't know if they found this in her own apartment or in Valentina's apartment in her room, but she had a diary that was written in English, German, and Russian. As well as she had this book of black magic and like occult stuff. So in her diary, she's depicting murders that she's committed over the last 2 decades. I think it's upwards of, 21 or so that she's claimed that she's killed. Now, based on the details provided in the book, that, her diary and things like that, they were able to link her to, I believe it was 11 murders that had been previously unsolved. One of them happened to be one of the tenants that she had in her apartment. He had gone missing. He was a 44-year-old guy, and they found his torso, and he had a tattoo on his torso. And in her diary, she had described exactly what the tattoo looked like. So that was the correlation there. Also, there was a couple of pages missing out of her black magic book that were found with his body. So they ended up charging her for both of those murders. I don't think that she was charged with any other murders at that point, but they managed to link her, I think, up to 11. But I think she claimed it was about 21 people that she had killed. Some are, some things say 14, some say 21. So, it's kind of hard to confirm everything just based on what you read on the internet, but that's what we have. So, she's locked up at the moment. She will be spending the rest of her life in jail. And during the process, her trial and everything, she was very calm, cool, collected, blowing kisses to the reporters and just, being very aware that she's going to be spending the rest of her life in jail. And she was straight up like, I knew that Valentina was going to be my last murder and things like that. I'll go ahead and pop a clip in here of her coming down for the trial and blowing kisses at the reporters. It's disturbing. Anyway, guys, that does it for this week's Tea Time and Crime. I'll see you next week. Bye.